So, uh, episode 2. I don't know. I named the last one Peckish Pubes Ep1. That was pure laziness. But we're fine with it, I think. I think we are gonna try to, I felt like if I didn't have I needed to just follow an urge, right? Like I was like, oh, you know what? I want to do a podcast. So I was like, okay, let's just do it. Because if I don't, I won't, kind of thing. So I don't really have a set schedule. I might release them in a schedule. I'm not really sure. I'll probably just post this one immediately after, but that's kind of what's happening. I'm gonna try to stream again and then start uploading VODs. Maybe. So that's kind of the direction that we are headed. So, anyway, this is episode 2. I think the main thing I was really having this weird, not urge, but I was gonna have the conversation with myself in the car. And I was like, well, if I'm gonna have the conversation with myself, I could just do it right here. So I kind of put it off and I almost forgot about it, but it's ego. You know, what is, how do we perpetuate our egos and where do we get them fed? Where are we feeding our egos from? And the only reason that was really a thing is because I notice when I start to feed my own ego, I'll go on this binge. And it's not I guess it's not it's long, it's not a week or 2 weeks or a month. Normally it's 3 hours. It's just 3 hours of me just watching, my own clips or my own videos or my own VODs and just kind of listening to them and kind of just taking them in, for whatever they were, I guess. Because I was watching one of my own VODs today, and honestly, I don't think as a stream it was inherently bad. I didn't really get that far into it. I'm sure there was some sort of drop off, but as a stream, a low level content creator, below sub level content, we're talking below the earth, baby. It just wasn't it wasn't bad. It was just a normal, because I think that's one thing is with the amount of money that is thrown towards creators these days, it allows them to make these next level products, and that product being the video that they're able to produce, the quality, the ideas, the size and the scope of what they can do, just becomes so much larger because of the money to increase production value. And I think that's really awesome, and I think that's really what so many people, including myself, love about creators is their ability to take an idea and then bring it to life in a way that you're not gonna see on television. TNT ain't making this shit, ABC Network isn't making this, I went on a landslide of just Sidemen products. Sidemen videos, from Rhoda Shaw, compilations to Simon compilations, just a compilation about everyone in Sidemen. And then, Chunks in Philly. I just watched, 2 of their podcasts today. Just 2, I don't know, there's probably 45-minute, hour-long, and just sat down and watched them, and then did another doom scroll of all their products, all their videos, and then there was the Beta Squad guys, right? And they did a bunch of weird cool little videos. You have the ones where they're they get people in a lineup and they try to figure out who is the real whatever imposter, whoever the imposter is, or the videos where anyway, just the general concept, the scale at which they do things is insane, right? Especially as they continually make money continuously make money to be able to increase the scale of that. Because I was watching clips from the Sidecast, their podcast, where they're talking about how, like, for their next, like, hide and go seek video, they want to, like, fly everyone to America, or take Americans, or take, like, American content creators and, like, do a hide and seek somewhere in, like, LA or something. Like, just, like, this insane, like, wild scope. And I guess that kind of fed into, like, oh, you know what, I want to, like, watch my own content, or, like, you know, watching other content creators, like, for me, always makes me feel like I want to make something. Like, it fuels my creative desire to do something. So so then I go back and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll watch my VOD, maybe I'll go, like, watch a video, like, let's see, like, because I know at the end of the day, like, this isn't something that I make money off of, so it's not something that I try to put too much effort in. And I really do enjoy, like, when I'm, like, if I'm actually sitting down to make a video, there's something about making a shit product that is funny to me. Like, I don't know if that's funny to anyone else. I just know, like, to me, I think it's funny, which is such a bad plan. Like, that's such a horrible plan of attack. Like, something so underproduced and under, like, valued. Like, there was no time or money thrown at this. Like, the money was the cost of the video game or Premiere Pro, right? And then the cost, and then, like, the time that went into it was me playing the game. And everything after that was just like, how can I make this just, like, inherently shitty? Like, keep the bad stuff in. Like, how can I just, like I don't want to cut the bad stuff. I want the bad stuff in there. Like, if it's a moment of silence, yeah. Like, if there's, like, especially if I'm clipping a VOD, like, you know, there's only so much going on in a VOD at such a low level of, like, streaming, because, you know, you look over, you can see, like, viewership. Obviously, it's hard to keep up. Like, you'll start a stream and you might have, like, a shit ton of energy, and then you go to, like, you know, the hour marker and you're kind of winding down, and then the 2 hour marker and you're even more down. Like, and, like, I used to try to do, like, 4 to 8 hour streams. I thought, like, dude, that would be, like, that's a solid. But now I'm at a point where, like, if it's not an hour, like, 2 hours, 2.5, 3 hours max normally now, it's like, I can't justify streaming for nothing, but also I still want to stream, especially because it gives me a VOD, so it kind of makes sense to just, like, okay, now, like, if I have a VOD, I can at least do something with that, right? Because otherwise, I go into videos with, like, a loose script, because I do enjoy, like, some RPGs, so I do, like, and Skyrim is so dead these days, but I do enjoy playing Skyrim, so, like, you know, you get a shit ton of mods, you download the mods, and then, you know, maybe there's a new quest line, or maybe there's just something fucking stupid, or maybe it's just base game, and you're like, you know what, today's video, we're gonna go fucking do a thing from base game Skyrim, and we're just gonna do that quest, and that's, like, the like, idea of the video. Just, like, the way that I'm gonna interact in that like, space, right? But when you have that plan to do that thing, or at least when I have that plan to do that thing, I go into it with a lot of energy, so that it kind of, like, I at least have something going on, and I'm not necessarily, like, 100% myself. Like, I'm now, because all content creators do that, right? Like, for the most part, like, there is some sort of persona that they put on that, like, isn't completely, truly 100% themselves, because at the end of the day, if you are someone who games, like, you're not this crazy person 24/7, right? Like, you wind down. Like, sometimes you just want to have a chill, relaxing game sesh with the homies. So, anyway, this is, like, dude, I'm so bad, bro. Okay. But, like, the ego thing, right? So I'm having, like, this ego moment today, and I'm like, I gotta watch my shit, you know? And my thought was, like, is it inherently bad to want to consume something that you've made? Or is, like, stroking your own ego, like, a way to keep up your confidence? And I think that really depends on, like, how you perceive yourself and whatever that content is that you're making. I think I'm at the point currently where it comes like when I make a video, I'm not so torn up about like watching it after the fact. Like sometimes it's kind of cringy and it's like, oh my god, I made that. But also at the same time, I'm like, well, you know what? That was me at that point in history. Like, I don't necessarily love it because I've seen stuff that I've made from like COVID. Nowhere, like in a lot of ways I'm that same person, but in a lot of ways I'm not. Like that guy's crazy. Like, and I look back and I'm like, what was he doing? But also, that was someone that I was at some point in life. I can't deny that, right? So I don't necessarily get embarrassed about it, even if it's not the best stuff ever. So I guess it's like, is ego, or is watching your own, like, I don't know, like maybe like take it even, because I guess content creation is one thing, right? Like this is videos, this is like moving media, I guess. But like, you know, if you're an artist and you have like paintings in a museum, or you have paintings in that same regard, like if you go back and you look at it and you like just take in like the fact that you thought you did a good job, like at what point does that become like too much dick stroking where you're like, oh my god, me, like because I don't know at what point it does, and I think if there is a point, it's like when you like compare it to other people's shit, and you're like, oh well, dude, look, your shit's bad compared to mine. But there's no like frame of reference for what is good or bad. And I think that because media online is so subjective, like you can't say one piece of content is better or worse than someone else's. Like I know that people want to have like a metric. They're like, well, you can because views and dislikes, and yeah, but there's plenty of this like dog shit that exists in the world that I think is just inherently ridiculous or dumb, but that people are just still in love with. Like, I'm not a Taylor Swift stan, but I like some of her music, right? But that doesn't mean I'm in love with all of her music, but that doesn't make Taylor Swift a bad artist, and it doesn't make Taylor Swift a good artist, right? Like, I think with so much that exists on YouTube, it's like, oh, well, this is bad and this is good. Well, what makes it bad? What makes it good? Now, I definitely think, like, there's a certain like quality of editing, you know, that makes like a well-rounded video. There's a certain quality of content that makes a well-rounded video. But some people like mellow things. Like they want something mellow. They want something. And just because it's not like what's most attractive doesn't mean it's bad, right? Like I think everyone and their mama can say that the Fast and Furious movies in the last like 10 years have been dog shit. Like there's nothing attractive about those films whatsoever. Like, yet the numbers that they're gonna pull inside of a movie theater, like in box office, are gonna be insane. Why? Right? The last 10 Marvel movies, dog shit, but the numbers that they're gonna pull on Disney Plus and at the movie theaters is insane. But for what reason? Like, this is a worse product than what we were presented originally, right? So, in the sense that certain things are subjective and certain things are objective, right? You can give, like, a grade to a piece of content based on certain aspects. But if the overall quality of the video is now determined by public opinion, or like the success factor of a video is developed by public opinion, then you can't, I think it's so hard to trust like public opinion, right? I don't watch Twitch. That's not something I do. I don't enjoy watching people stream. I don't think that's fun. I think there's other things I could be listening to in the background. Like, because I also understand some people just turn on a stream because they want to listen to something in the background while they're doing something else. That's a completely understandable thing. I just don't think that, like, Twitch is the way to do it. Like, in my own life. Like, I don't get to work and then find out someone's streaming and go, you know what I should do? I should load up Twitch and watch someone else live life. The only reason I'm turning something on in that capacity is because I'm already in the process of living my life. Like, I'm at home, I'm cleaning. I'm at work, I'm working. Like, I have actual shit that I'm like paying attention to and like life that I'm living that it doesn't make sense for me to watch or to listen to someone else doing it. Does it? Because I'm not actually paying attention. And I'm not just gonna throw a view at someone for no reason. Like, if I'm gonna sit down and watch YouTube, I want it to be something that like I enjoy, and it's gonna be something I actually pay attention to. And that kind of like, there's those memes like, oh, I'm having breakfast, I need to watch like a YouTube video. That's real. Like, yeah, dude, if I'm having breakfast, there's no one else in my apartment, you know. I got my parents used to watch the news, you know. But it's like, okay, it's not just on because I'm having like breakfast. Like, I'm not just clicking on something random at breakfast. Like, I'm going to like a product that I know I'll enjoy or something that I know I want to watch. I don't do a lot of background. There's not like, it is the thing I'm doing and nothing else, or it's the thing I'm doing and music. Or like, okay, I'm cooking and cleaning the other day, and I have like my kitchen behind this wall, and then in front of that wall over here is like the living room, right? And my TV's up here, right? So I click on a video and then I start cooking and cleaning. But then I'm like, okay, I actually really enjoy this video. I really want to watch this video. So I went in I literally just stepped out of the kitchen, paused it, and then like turned on like music. Because why am I just giving a view without getting the thing out of it? And I'm not gonna waste another like, I'm not just gonna let the video play for no reason. Like, I want to watch it, which might be a weird take. Dude, this went from like, this is such a, wow, I'm bad. I didn't realize like I ramble so hard. That's insane. This is, I can't imagine how my friends feel now. Like, I will go back and rewatch some of this and like see if there's like major dead spaces that might trim it up a little bit. More than likely, I won't have to do that, I don't think. But this is insane. Okay. I can't even remember the real actual point at this point. Like, I don't remember. Okay. At work, watching my own video, ego. Right? So, the way I understand it, and I could look it up, I'm not going to, but ego is like our self-perception, right? How we perceive ourselves in like a negative or positive light, like the things that we think about ourselves, right? So, I don't know, like the identity of our soul or something. And today I'm watching content creators, and I'm thinking, dude, you know what? I would love to be a content creator. Like, I want to, or not love to be, but rather, I would like to create a content. Of some kind. So I go back and I'm watching all the stuff that I have done in the past, and I don't know if I was looking for like a success factor or something that I was really proud of, or something I was really not proud of, something that like I wish I'd done different. Like, I wasn't looking for anything in particular. I was just like watching it, and that's it. And there's a part of me that felt really good about it. I was like, oh, you know what? This isn't bad. This is like mediocre, maybe. I could see why someone could like this, and I could also see why people wouldn't like this. Because this podcast is a lot like my general like state of being. Like, there are days where I'm trying to be funny, and I feel like every time I've sat down to record, I'm never trying to be funny, because when I get sat to record, now I'm in like a productive state of mind, which is completely different than like my chaotic state of mind. Like, I never click record when I'm feeling rambunctious or feeling like high energy. It's like energy plus productivity, which puts me in a completely different mindset. So I'm watching it and I'm kind of like, I don't know, like in this moment talking about it, and also like rewatching it, starting to realize like, okay, like there's the person that I am during these moments is not like the guy getting views. Like, he's not the guy getting clips, because the guy getting clips is doing crazy shit. He's saying crazy shit. And there's like this really scary, not scary, but it's like this dilemma of, you know, how much do you risk in pursuit of content creation? Because if you whiff, you're fucked. But if you don't, then you're good, right? Like, you might just be set, you get famous, and then you have to start building up like a longevity to that. Which I feel like is so much harder. And what's really nice is, like, nowadays, like, you know, you see people create like companies or businesses, and they try to like make who they are into a brand in order to make it like more self-sufficient. A good example of that is like Linus Tech Tips or Ludwig, you know, taking his channel and turning it into this like company. Or Beta Squad, I think they're out, I don't think they exist anymore actually, but, you know, Sidemen or Logan Paul, like, they took their name, turned it into a product, and then now they have businesses or own things. The same thing PewDiePie did. Like, now I make products, and now I sell things, and now I have some sort of sustainability outside of the content that I create, which I think is super cool. But I think it's like, what are the odds that even if you throw everything at the thing that you're doing, that you become that kind of success? Because you see successful, like, even just relatively like less famous YouTubers become successful and like live off of the money that they make, right? But there's a fall. Like, there's not, like, they're not up here forever. There's not a forever climb, and there's not going to be just a stagnant thing. There is a decline. Like, you won't always be there, like up here, and unless you have that level of success to be able to like build on that to make it a company, like so many others or like others have. Where are you going? What's your job? What are you doing? Like, how do you pay for bills? How do you maintain the lifestyle that you built for yourself, you know, using this money, right? Because you're not always going to want to create content, I guess. So that was like dude, I'm losing it. But how many times will I say, let's go back to ego, and then go away? How many times do you think? So I think for me, actually just like completely leaving the topic of ego, like I've already done, is just, I've seen and I think that most people can agree that like you either have like a winning personality that people gravitate towards, or you understand the trends, or like, and you know how to make content that gets views, right? Like, I think Ludwig even did a video on this of like, is it impossible, like how hard is it to get success on YouTube? And he did a really good job at just basically boiling it down to, there is a sort of science to it. Like, especially, basically what he did was make a video about Mizkif and like how, and it was like an analytical video of like, oh, how Mizkif became successful, right? And so what happens is that then he goes and like pays, and he had to do it like on a different channel, obviously, so that like, so he makes a new channel, does like the branding on it, and he does that one upload, and he sends the idea to, he writes the script, sends the script to a narrator, someone to narrate the video, and then he hires an editor to like clip shit together and to like make an actual video, like a video presentation, basically. So here's the script. This guy writes a script or reads the script, and then he sends it to this guy, and then this guy creates like the video presentation, and he puts it, and then he finds out when Miss Kiff's gonna be online, and he sends it into the chat, and he says, like, you know, check this out. Like, this guy did a video on Miss Kiff, and like, is it kind of scummy? Yeah, but it works, right? Like, immediately, like, streamers in and of themselves have kind of like an ego thing, right? So it's like, Miss Kiff immediately sees it, and he's like, okay, that's interesting. Maybe it's worth a watch. Like, it's about me, right? So he watches it, and the video blows up because a streamer, like a huge streamer with all his fans, are also now seeing the video. So now all of a sudden, all his fans are going to the video, and it becomes like a thing, right? And it's like, does that not... That doesn't necessarily work for everybody, and that's not also going to be the thing that people want to make, but it worked. So it was like, okay, so there's like a way to win. There is a way to be semi-successful on YouTube. What is it? And like, how do you emulate the things that you need to do that, right? That sounds dreadful. And I think that everyone, when they think about a YouTube career, they're thinking about like, how do I make it fit me? Like, how do I become successful based on me? And that's very difficult, I think. And I'm not willing to put that amount of effort into something that's like a chance, you know? Like, it just doesn't seem... like the odds just don't seem that great to be able to willing to like sit down and actually do that. I know it's like I know there's like lots of little nuances and factors to consider, because there are things like just the relative, like what's recent, what is new, you know, like like new game comes out, record a video on it, post it. If you're one of the first to post, you're one of the first people commenting on a new thing, which makes you, what's a word? I don't know why. Relevant. Makes you relevant, right? So like there's ways to like keep up and to make sure that all your content is always relevant. But then you're trend chasing, which also feels like, okay, well, what about the things that I wanted to make, right? So it's like, how much of your life on like in content creation do you want to spend like trend chasing? Or do you pick a niche and then do you beat that niche to death? I mean, how many YouTubers are like, I'm a Rainbow Six Siege YouTuber, I'm a fucking Tarkov YouTuber, and then you get stuck, right? And then you're like, okay, well, now I'm this. People watch me for this. And only a percentage of the people that actually subscribe to you are actually going to be subscribed for you, right? Like, sometimes they're also just going to be subscribed because you make content about a thing they like. I used to, when I was younger, I used to look up content about Skyrim, and I used to follow content about Skyrim because it was Skyrim. But as I got older, there was only one or two that I actually really enjoyed as content creators, and I didn't really give a shit about the other ones because I was really only watching because it was a Skyrim thing, right? Because if the essence of content creation is entertainment, then, which I know it isn't, like there's other like facets to it, but in like a very, like, if your intent is entertainment, then you can't landlock yourself, you know? I think the main reason, and it's just been something I've been wanting to say or talk about, or even just like think about and talk about out loud, is because I go through phases of wanting to create and not create, and then like energy to do the either. And since the podcast, like this type of thing is so much easier to do, it becomes like less work. So it's a lot easier to just sit here and talk, right? Like, you're not creating anything. Like, someone made a good example. They did it on the guy who did the Vape Nation videos before everyone stopped liking him, with iDubbbz and he has H3 podcast or H3H3. Like, a bunch of people got angry at him or whatever, and then someone was like, hey man, when are you going to create things? What happened? Like, you used to create things. And I think that podcasts can be a lot, you know, and in a lot of ways they can be a sense of like creation, but essentially they do boil down to like either education or just like a talk show. There's not a lot of creating, right? You more than anything, you're creating a moment between you and the people in the room with you that you're doing like a podcast with, right? You're creating a moment right then and there. But outside of that, it's not like the essence of the film coming off of a screen is a work of art, you know? It's people listening to a conversation. And I'm not giving you news, you know? Like, I'm not informing. I'm not like... So, in its essence, I am not creating content. And this is more for me than anything. But I guess somewhere in my mind, it's like it scratches an itch, right? Like I had an itch to do something, to put something on a channel, and it's been itched. And I think right now I'm trying to figure out how I can keep going about putting content onto a channel without hating it and without like feeling like I was just throwing a bunch of time and energy at it, because it's not something I want to do. I have a real job, you know, like today I worked a 12-hour shift. Wasn't supposed to, but I did, right? And so it was like, and that's fine. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with working, you know, 50, 60, 70 hours a week. The most I've ever worked, I think, is 12 hours every day of the week straight. Like, that's the most I've ever worked. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But it leaves you drained, right? Like, you get done and you're like, I'm done. Like, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Like, I don't want to do anything. I want to go home. I want to go to sleep. I don't want to do dishes. I don't want to go to the gym. So that's kind of what today was. Like, I got done and I was like, I don't want to go to the gym. I'm tired. I'd rather just go in my room and sit and talk to myself for a little bit. Get it over with. You know? Not even get it over with. Just be like, this is a thing I wanted to do. This is really the only time I have to do it. And if I go to the gym, you know, that's like 30 minutes to an hour guaranteed of working out. And then I gotta come home and, you know, take a shower, do the dishes, pick up, and then, like, by the time I get done, it's time to go to bed. So it's like, I don't want to do that, right? So we diverted, and that's okay. And we're doing this, which I'm happy with. Because it is, again, like, it's like, this is the easy outlet. This is content without content, right? Like, this is, in its essence, the laziest I can be about it, which for me works. And I would say that for everybody else that's like wants to be some sort of content creator, like, they have to figure out what works with them and what they're willing to do and what they're willing to sacrifice and like the time they're willing to spend. And I think this is what I've landed on. So eventually these will have other topics. I think, you know what, I can write that down. Tinder, because I just deleted that the other day. Not because it went well. I was just, you get tired of it. But maybe I'll record that tomorrow and have it scheduled somewhere. And one of these days I would like to make like a little intro edit. We're just not there right now. So anyway, love ya. Kisses. Bye.